crypto market. Joining us right now is Delta Blockchain Fund founder and general partner Kavita Gupta. Kavita, thanks very much for being here today. What do you make of this massive sell-off in Bitcoin?
Thanks, Maria, for having me again. I think it's the market, it's the volatility. There was a time when people were asking about why all these institutions are buying, how long is why Bitcoin is a new currency to go for. And today in the volatility market, we are only talking about sell-off. I think, of course, the Terra loss a month back has actually really triggered a lot of fear in the market. We see the market fear with respect to sell-offs. But overall market volatility and especially crypto prices to drop was very much expected from quite some time. If you go to all-time high, you have to find some price correction somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, what's the impact here? I mean, this kind of volatility, we just heard Fidelity, wanting to add Bitcoin to the retirement funds, people's 401ks. You've got countries that use Bitcoin as their currency, like El Salvador. Those people who are getting paid in Bitcoin, their paychecks. Remember, we had the mayor of Miami say who was going to get paid in Bitcoin, the mayor of New York City as well. So how do these things get impacted?
Well, they're definitely getting much less money than what they would have got in the absolute currency. But it is a volatile, a risky currency. It is not yet around gold and other places where we can feel like, it's a 5% inflation, 5% lower down. It is a very volatile currency. We have always talked about. Let's take one by one. El Salvador taking it and using it as a currency. They bought it at like 20, 30K when they started, and they sold a decent amount of Bitcoin at around 65, 68K, if I remember it correctly. And also they have been mining using a complete renewable energy. So I think having it as a part of your treasury is a great idea. It is a currency which is going to support, whether it's a 401k, it's a pension fund. Having it is a 5% or 3% allocation to overall, it's a great idea because it does give your portfolio a great boost when it also gives your portfolio sometimes lower market. But having it as a full-time paycheck, as we talked about, without specifically pointing to anybody, I don't think we are ready to use it as a currency yet, to be honest.
Well, look, Bitcoin's like the best of the lot. Ethereum is down 75%. Litecoin down even more than that. Now, many of these companies are announcing layoffs. You've got Coinbase, BlockFi, Crypto.com, all announcing they're going to be laying off workers, and crypto lending firm Celsius is halting withdrawals as a result of this chaos in the market. Shares of Coinbase falling in the pre-market following its plans to cut over 1,000 jobs. Kavita, your take on this, do you think we'll see more layoffs to come in the crypto world?
Yeah, I think it is like any Web 2, Web 1 market where we're going to see in the downturn people who had huge expansion plans suddenly realize that, oh, we are in a bearish market for 2-3 years and we need to really tighten our bills, whatever we raised, and our revenue is going to fall. So I think in a tech company, when you give an example of BlockFi, Coinbase, and other places, it's very similar to Microsoft, Google, and any other place, what we saw during COVID.
Yeah.
Celsius is a different case. That is a complete failing of liquidation process, which people didn't anticipate, or the people who were managing it could have managed it better. Did anybody see that SE, the way they were wrapping it and staking it on Ethereum, would actually get shorted? No, nobody expected that in the market. But it's the market sentiment, which everybody just want liquidity, made the SE to actually drop off, even though Ethereum successfully went closer towards POS by completing one more step closer to the merge. So people actually thought SETH is going to have more value, which didn't happen because of the market condition. Among all the altcoins... Go ahead, Maria,
go ahead.
Please.
No, please finish.
Among all the altcoins you mentioned, I still have a huge hope for Ethereum. Of course, Bitcoin is up there as a currency, but Ethereum has so many technologies which are being built on that the power of technology makes me realize that the adoption will continue to be higher and higher. But a lot of altcoins, we're going to see 80% of the market getting wiped out of the coins which we talk about today.
I'm just wondering if new regulation is going to be another reason to sell. The chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Gary Gensler, yesterday warning that potential crypto legislation could undermine regulations for wider markets, Kavita. We don't know what the framework will be in terms of the regulatory backdrop, but is that going to be another reason to sell here?
I think it's definitely going to be another reason for a lot of people to feel the fear, especially in US. We have already seen a
Yeah.
big brain drain of people leaving out of US and creating their companies like FTX in Bahamas and other places. But at the same time, I do feel like some regulations are needed. Like anybody who's investing in the space should know that it is a high volatile space. Just don't go with the bullish market. But I'm also a huge believer of bipartisan bill, which has gone about CFTC, that all these crypto are actually commodities and should be under CFTC. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see how I hope this is not going to be post 2008 era that let's just kill everything, which has anything to do with this word crypto. I think the technology gets to continue to evolve in the space.
Okay, we will leave it there. Kavita, great to get your insights. Thanks so much. Kavita Gupta joining us this morning, and the next hour of Mornings with Maria begins right now.